Hello everyone, welcome to the 9 Acres. I'm so glad to see you guys. I am really excited that Anna from Fermented Homestead asked us to take part in a collaboration that she is holding during the month of September called Fall into Sourdough. You can find the playlist on Anna's page, The Fermented Homestead. We also will provide a link for the playlist on our channel. All during the month of September, make sure you watch every video that comes out in the Fall into Sourdough collaboration. Use the hashtag, all one word by the way. Make sure you comment on every one of those videos, and Anna will have a giveaway around the 1st of October. The best way that you can get qualified for it is to comment on all the videos. The more you comment, the more chances you have. Here on our homestead, sourdough has become a large part of our daily meals and meal preps. We also utilize it in the market aspect that we sell sourdough breads and sourdough starters to people. We make our own starter by catching the wild starter in the air. If you'd like to learn how to do that, I'll leave a link to the playlist to a video where I explain all about how to make your own sourdough starter. There's also a neat recipe that I will show for a no-knead bread if you'll check out this iCard. One of the worst things about sourdough, it seems, is a lot of people are really worried about what to do with the discard, because of course you have to feed your sourdough daily in order for it to be healthy, active, and give you that big yeasty growth that we all love that comes with sourdough. We have really enjoyed finding different uses for that discard other than just feeding it to the chickens. Around here in the fall and in the winter, we get more into that soup and hearty meal weather. One of those meals that I am going to utilize this for is for a chicken soup with a twist. Some of you might know what I'm talking about. Stick around. Let's prepare our chicken. I never thought I would say this, but I've become very fond of this contraption right here. And especially for our farm where we work in town, so we're both very busy. At the end of the day, you don't want to spend a lot of time in the kitchen really trying to make a great hearty meal for everyone in the house. So the Instapot has become very helpful in that aspect. Normally this meal would take a long time to fix. That meal that I'm going to fix for you is chicken and dumplings. Sourdough dumplings using that discard. I'm going to continue making my chicken here. We raise our own chickens here on the 9 Acres. As we are a homestead, we raise our Cornish cross chickens on pasture. We also raise pigs on pasture. And we just got done processing some of those chickens. And when we cut up chicken into the different parts to freeze, you know, you always have the chicken breast that everybody loves to utilize. But we always end up with leg quarters, legs, thighs, everything along that line. And in the market aspect, they're not really sought after. We don't have a lot of people who want to buy leg quarters. So we utilize a lot of them for meals like chicken and dumplings. So I have 4 legs and 4 thighs in here, 2 chickens worth. I'm going to add a half a stick of butter. I'm also adding 2 cups of water to them. Of course, what we're looking for is a chicken broth. They're going to cook down. We're going to pull them out, pull the bones out, debone it, and we're going to put the chicken back in, and we're going to utilize that broth that it cooks in. Always remember to wash your hands after handling chicken. So let's talk about this wonderful thing called sourdough. Sourdough is very healthy for you. It's good for your gut health. Do your own research on it. But we've found many uses for it. In fact, this morning we ate discard pancakes using sourdough discard. And I know some other channels, they're gonna have some videos about that. And in fact, I enjoyed Anna's video the other day from Fermented Homestead of making crepes with discard. So the recipe we're gonna use to make the dumpling portion using our discard actually comes from King Arthur flour. And it's for their biscuits. So let's start talking about the star of my video today, which is that sourdough discard biscuit recipe. In order to make this recipe, what you are going to need is 1 cup of all-purpose flour, 1 cup of unfed discard sourdough starter, 8 tablespoons of cold butter, 1 teaspoon of salt, and 2 tablespoons of baking powder. Let's get started. This is the perfect time for us to get our discard, feed our starter, put it back away, and then we can utilize that discard. Let's work on that. So we need that 1 cup of unfed starter discard. Look at that yummy, lumpy, sour smelling starter. You're like us, I put the extra in a jar, mason jar, and we put it in the fridge, and then that's what I add to during the week that we utilize for recipes like this discard biscuit recipe or pancakes or whatever discard recipe that you utilize it for. So we put that jar back in the fridge. Of course, it stops any active growth in it. And then we're good to go. Taking care of a cat or a dog every day. You have to feed it. Or else it may come to a demise. And no one wants that. Are you really into sourdough if your starter jar doesn't look like a kindergarten paste bottle? Kind of crusty and yeah, all over the side of it. Are you really into sourdough? Also, are you really into sourdough if you don't name your starter? This is Wanda. Meet Wanda. When we make bread from Wanda, we all enjoy Wanda's kids. So I've got my dry ingredients. I've got my 1 cup of flour, my baking soda, my salt. We're going to go ahead and mix this. This is relatively a quick, easy recipe. Makes wonderful biscuits, by the way. So if you want to utilize biscuits out of it, they are absolutely delicious. Now, before I add my starter, I want to add that butter. Take a minute and talk about our butter. If you're making it for biscuits, it's really important that it's chilled and that you keep it relatively cold before it bakes. Being we're going to use it for dumplings, I want it chilled, but it's going to warm up before I get it in there. I always like to dice my butter, chunk it up before I put it in the bowl. That way it mixes in. Only put in a few chunks at a time while you're mixing it. Alright, it's time. Just get up in there, break them apart. Of course, we don't want to overwork them. We just want to crumble it up. Okay, now that we have our butter incorporated into our dry, we'll go ahead and add our discard starter. Of course, we shouldn't have to add any more moisture, but if we do need to add moisture because our dough is too dry, we're going to do that very slowly, a tablespoon at a time. Let's get this mixed up. I like to mix it around and at least get it coated, get the starter coated with some dry flour and butter mixture before I actually get in there. We don't want to overwork this dough for our biscuits, because of course our butter will melt the more we work it. We just want to absorb all of that dry mixture and get it mixed together. Now the nice thing about this recipe is if we were making biscuits, we would have to put this out on the counter and pat it down. Being we're going to utilize these as dumplings, once we get our ball formed in our bowl, we're going to be pretty much done. So this is what we're looking for. All its ugly goodness. We want just an ugly biscuit batter or dough ball. Of course, we're done with this for now, so we just got to wait for our chicken to get done so we can pull it off the bone. And I'll add a few more things, like we like having mixed vegetables in with ours, so I'm going to add a can of mixed vegetables. And I went ahead and cheated and got a little bit of chicken broth already made, because we're out of chicken broth here. We've got to utilize those chickens that we just butchered to make some more broth. Now that our chicken got done in our Instapot, we pull out our legs and thighs. That's what we're looking for, is that bone just to fall out of there. So we dice and shred all the meat. It will fall apart with your fork. Really, I'm just using my knife. The bones will almost fall away from the meat. Everyone always likes a good piece of chicken with every bite in their chicken and dumplings, so I try not to over dice my chicken or cut it into too small pieces. I like to incorporate that cooked skin in with it also. That's plumb full of good flavor. I go ahead and dump my chicken back in here. And now's when we get a big spoon. I turn my Instapot on to slow cooker, so it'll continue to warm that up. We'll get that chicken mixed back in. This is a great time to utilize some of those canned vegetables that you have already. I'm going to go ahead and use it so that anyone who doesn't can their own vegetables, I've just got a can of mixed vegetables here, drained. We're going to go ahead and put that in the pot, mix it in. Okay, now that we've got all our ingredients in our soup, we have to bring our soup back up to a boil. And then once it comes to a boil, then we're going to start incorporating those sourdough biscuit dough in there for our dumplings. Okay, this is a really hard operation now that we've come up to a boil. We take our biscuit mixture with our sourdough. We get a small amount in our hand, and you pinch off small amounts and drop in the boiling water. They're going to form our dumplings. Give it a stir occasionally. Blend them all around. That extra flour that is around our biscuit dough is also going to work as a thickening agent in our chicken and dumplings. You just pinch off little bits. I like to pinch them down flat in a small amount. And our family likes small dumplings, and a lot of them. We keep adding these in. They're going to continue stacking up in here, and they're going to absorb more and more of that broth. Make sure that you stir them, work them from the top to the bottom. We want all that fluffy goodness down through all of that broth. We're after those big fluffy dumplings in there. Once you get all your dumplings put in your pot, you want to give it about 5 minutes of it boiling to make sure that they're cooked all the way through. No one wants an undercooked dumpling. I like to continuously stir it. That way I know they're getting worked all the way down. They're soaking up as much of that broth as we can. It makes a very thick and hearty soup and meal. It's a good one-pot meal. And the leftovers are amazing. I hope that all these recipes that are being shared during Fall Into Sourdough encourages you to start your own sourdough starter. I know I'm following along with all of them and making sure that I'm commenting on every video so that I can qualify at the end of the collaboration for the giveaway on Fermented Homestead's channel on her live at the end. The best thing about cooking is that you get to eat and trying your own recipes. I'm going to get quite a bit of this in here. I want a little of everything. Let's get us a spoon. Give me a spoonful of that with chicken, that little dumpling. You always want to make sure that it cools down before you take a bite of that scalding dumpling there. While we're waiting on it to cool down, please come and check out our channel. Give us a thumbs up. Comment on this video so that you qualify for the drawing at the end of the collaboration. And always make sure that you fall into sourdough. Wow, it's light. It takes the place of a noodle. It's very good. It gives a little bit different taste with that sourdough in it. Chicken is amazing. Guys, thanks for being here today. And as always, from our family to yours, we bless you. We love you. See you later.